Welcome to our Principles of Finance course. In this first lesson, we will learn about perhaps the most fundamental concept in finance, which is the time value of money. And if you are a channel member, you will have access to an exclusive tutorial that accompanies this lesson with solved examples. So, what is the time value of money? Let's imagine you are presented with these two choices. You can either receive $1 today or $1 in the future. The question is, which one is more valuable? And the time value of money says that $1 today is more valuable because you can actually invest this amount, and over time, this will grow to something larger than $1, so more than $1. So that's why in this figure, this left-hand side weighs heavier, right? Because of this earning potential of the dollar that is invested today, this is more valuable than a dollar received some point in the future, okay? To give you a more specific example, let's suppose in our bank account, we have $1,000. And let's also suppose our bank pays an annual interest rate of 10%. So we begin with $1,000 now. Over the year, we will earn an interest of 10%, which is basically $100 added to our opening balance. And at the end of the year, our account will have $1,100. How about at the end of the second year? So we start the second year with $1,100. Again, we earn an interest rate of 10%. And the second year ends with $1,210. So as you can see in this figure, our original investment of $1,000 actually grows exponentially over the years. This is due to the time value of money and what we call the power of compounding. Because banks pay interest on interest, the growth is exponential. Okay? So for example, by the time of 10 years, our balance will grow to $2,500. Then it will nearly reach $5,000 in 15 years' time. It will approach $7,500 in 20 years. It will exceed $10,000 in year 25. And in year 30, so if you invest $1,000 at this rate for 30 years, that small investment will actually grow to $17,500. So this shows both the power of compounding and why the time value of money matters. Another important implication of the time value of money is that you can't compare cash flows at different points in time. So let's have another comparison. Let's say we have two choices. We can either receive $1,000 today, or we can receive $1,000 and $1,500 in 5 years. Okay, so the question again is, which one is better? You can't simply say that, oh, 1,500 is a lot bigger than 1,000, so I go for 1,500. That wouldn't be a fair comparison, because cash flows at different points in time are like apples and oranges. What we need is the interest rate to be able to make this comparison. So with the interest rate, we have basically two choices. We can either take this first cash flow and push it to the future via compounding. Okay, so compound. And that gives us the future value of this cash flow in 5 years' time. And then we can compare it with 1,500. This is the first option. So let's say option 1. Or equivalently, and we'll get the same result, we could discount 1,500 to the present, and that would give us its present value. So we are essentially pulling this cash flow to the present, and then we can compare it with $1,000 today. So this is the second option. So let me illustrate how that works. And in both cases, we will need a specific interest rate. So for example, let's begin with the future value. So what we will do, So we will begin with $1,000 today, and we will compound it into the future. Okay. So this is the formula, future value formula, that we need to use. So currently the amount we have is $1,000. So this is the present value we have. And let's say the interest rate is at the moment 5%. So we will compound it at 5% for 5 years. So this is to the power 5. And if you do this computation, what you will get is $1,276.30. In fact, on our website, there is a very easy to use future value calculator. I would recommend you check that out. The link is in the video description. That calculator will help you make these calculations instantly. Okay. So as you can see, the future value of this $1,000 is actually less than 1,500. Now these are comparable because they are both received in 5 years' time. So clearly, receiving 1,500 in 5 years' time is more beneficial, because at 5% interest rate, our money, this $1,000 received today, isn't growing fast enough to reach $1,500. Okay. But things could change with a different interest rate, right? So for example, suppose the interest rate is 10%, okay? Now we can make the same computation using 10, and this time the future value would actually be 1,610. And now, as you can see, that is larger than 1,500. So actually receiving 1,000 today is the better choice, because it will grow fast and it will exceed 1,500 in 5 years' time. So this was the first option, where we compound a cash flow today to find this future value and then compare with the cash flow in 5 years' time. So we could do, of course, the opposite. We could basically discount 1,500. Okay, so discount it, which would be equivalent to finding its present value. Okay, so this is the present value equation. So what I have is 1,500 received in 5 years' time. Again, I'm going to use the 5% interest rate, and this time I'm discounting, so that's why I'm dividing it, and I'm dividing it and raising this 1 plus 5% to the power 5. Why? Because it's a 5-year period, and this will give you a figure of 1,175. So on the same page on our website, we have a present value calculator as well. So again, you can use that to find the same figure quite quickly. And now I can compare it with the $1,000. As you can see, this is of course larger than $1,000. So we reach the same conclusion. So we are better off actually going with this 1,500 in 5 years' time, because it has a higher present value today. Again, we can check with the 10% interest rate, and like before, our choice should change, right? So because now the interest rate is higher, I'm discounting more heavily, so the present value will be smaller. In fact, it will be 931.4, which is now less than $1,000. So if the interest rate is 10%, actually it's better to go with $1,000 today. Okay, I hope these two concepts are clear. And here's a quiz for you, a bunch of true or false questions. Again, if you go to that same web page where we have the present value and future value calculators, you can find the solutions to these questions as well. So it's a great opportunity for you guys to test your learning. And that's all for our first lesson of the Principles of Finance course. In the next lesson, we'll be moving on to perpetuities and annuities. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson and look forward to seeing you in lesson number 2. Bye for now.